Hey guys, it's True here with the Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin build review video. Today I have an interesting build for you guys. So I recently got Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin for the PS4, and I mean, I'm liking it, but like, I've already played it for the Xbox 360, and I'm just having trouble getting back into it. So this time around, I thought I'd try something new. And to my surprise, it actually worked. Like, really, really well. Like, seriously, guys, this isn't even half my wins. This is, like, really good. So, the idea with this build was the primary focus would be around sorceries. And on paper, it seemed like a good idea, but in practice, it didn't work too well at first. So, what I started doing was incorporating weapons that have low stat requirements. And I eventually settled into using the Manikin knife and the Staff of Wisdom. And boy, this build, it just eats people. Like, you have no idea. It just destroys. Especially if you don't have much armor or magic defense, this thing just kills a dude. Like, really quickly. And I think a big reason is to do with Manikin Dagger that has a really weird way of scaling. When you infuse it, it actually doesn't lose much of any of its physical attack. In fact, it actually gained a little bit for me. So I have 100 base damage with the Manikin Dagger, plus 40 something with the magic. Not to mention I get about 100 extra physical and 50 magic damage. Not to mention the bleeding damage that it does, and the pretty good poison damage, I might add. You'd be surprised, this actually has some pretty good poise break for a dagger. I've never heard of anybody actually using this thing, and I'm surprised that not more people do, because it just, like, chews up people like nothing, and it's pretty amazing. Anyway, yeah, I'll go to the stats really quick. So, at first, what I was doing was I had adaptability and attunement about equal, maybe like 20-30 on that. And, you know, I mean, it was helpful. It gave me a little bit extra poise and a little bit extra resistance, but, you know, it wasn't that great. One tweak I made, though, that made this build, like, really, really good was I actually sacrificed my adaptability for attunement. And man, that make this build such a good spellcaster. What a lot of people actually don't know is that attunement actually does give you some agility. Not as much as adaptability, but still enough to suffice. When I had adaptability in my build, I was around 102 agility, and when I transfer that all over to attunement, I got about, I think 98, around there. Which really isn't that big of a deal, because I got a bunch of extra spell casts now, and also slots, and I have so many slots at this point, I don't even need to wear Southern Ritual Ring. It's just fine without it. I get 6 slots naturally with 50, and it's great. It's really helpful. It makes this build sing. Plus, it gives me a lot of wiggle room to put it in other stats, like, oh, Vigor. Vigor is so important with this build. Since I'm not using very much Vitality to wear armor, Vigor has been, like, such a lifesaver. My level is about 150, and I have about 50 Vigor. And you'd be surprised how much it helps. It keeps you alive for way longer in matches, and you can actually take some pretty heavy blows before you die. I don't actually have much vitality on this build. I think only 5. Which actually is fine, because I really don't need to wear that much armor. In fact, I'm using dragon armor, which weighs barely anything. I'm actually surprised not more people wear it. It's light, it has pretty good fire defense. The physical defense is okay. It doesn't have the best poise, but your weapon's so fast. Generally, you don't trade as hits as much as you think you would. Like, literally, I can get people in a really good stun lock with this dagger. One-handed, even. Like, I'm serious, guys. I'm at, like, 40 wins and only 10 losses with this thing. I'm not that good at Dark Souls, and, like, I'm not used to winning this much with any builds. I mean, the last time I was getting these kind of win ratings was when I was doing hexes in Dark Souls 2 before they patched it, so. Alright, well, let's talk about rings really quick. So, with this build, I wanted to get the most DPS out of my rings as possible, so I decided to go with Flynn's ring. Because, guys, Flynn's ring is really good. I never understood how good it actually is, but with a dagger and with a low endurance, this thing is like literally giving me like a 70 physical boost. And that's crazy. Like with a dagger, it just makes the DPS just skyrocket, and it's so good. It kills enemies so quickly. I also went with a sorcery clutch ring because, you know, extra magic damage, of course. Yeah, it does reduce your physical defense, which we already don't have a lot of, but at this point, it doesn't even matter because what you get out of your sorcery boosts, and especially with the Staff of Wisdom, is completely worth it. Now for my third ring, I went with the clear Bluestone ring. I'm not New Game Plus, and I don't really like using bonfire statics that much, so I'm just using the +1 right now. But it really helps getting those spells off, because since I'm wearing dragon armor, I can't really wear anything that will boost my casting speed, so that might help a lot. Now, the fourth ring is kind of a freebie for me. Sometimes I like lingering if I want Crystal Magic Weapon to run a little longer, or maybe I'll put on a Ring of Blades +1 just because a little extra physical damage never hurts, especially using this dagger. Or maybe even Southern Ritual Band, just because extra spells can never hurt. But yeah, there's actually a lot of flexibility with this build, and you're not locked into one style of play. And you can actually get a fair amount of physical damage using Flynn's ring and the Ring of Blades, so it's more versatile than you think. As for PvE, you know, it's alright. Especially in the DLCs where you're fighting a lot of armor dudes, it could be better. Like, of course, it's good at backstabbing because it's a dagger build, but, you know, having to backstab all the enemies is it's kind of crappy, and I don't like it that much, but, you know, for PvP though, man, I really like it. One problem I have found in PvP though is casting speed. And yeah, you can mitigate that with rings, but honestly, you don't get that great of casting speed with it. Now, the sorceries I use in this build are actually not that complicated. I mostly use just Great Heavy Soul Arrow, Soul Spear, Soul Greatsword, Crystal Magic Weapon, stuff like that. And it's actually doing pretty good, actually. I mean, I'm not that great with sorceries, honestly, so I just stick to the basics, the things that are tried and true. And honestly, they're great. I do have Crystal Homing Soul Mass, but I really don't use it that much. Honestly, I only use it in a pinch when I think I do need it. I could spice it up a little bit and use spells like Soul Shower or Shockwave or something, but I could change up the magic I have equipped to have more diverse and more helpful things, but honestly, as it stands right now, it's pretty effective. Especially that Soul Spear, like literally it's hitting 900 to 1,000 damage per hit, and if you can catch somebody off guard when you hit them with that, especially if they do like a spell like Scraps of Life or Chaos Storm, it's great. It's almost a one-hit kill, and that's pretty hard to boast with a lot of magic. Now, not to say this build is foolproof, I do have a lot of problems with greatsword users, just because they can easily outrange them with their melee weapon, they're generally fast, and they hit pretty hard, so yeah, take that with a grain of salt. But usually with Ultra Great Swords or Curved Great Swords, they're usually a little too slow to like hit you with, just because I'm getting around 50% weight with the dragon armor, and I actually am able to avoid a lot of attacks with it. Also, dealing with Havel's armor is a little annoying just because that magic defense and also that poise, it's not Havel proof by any means. But the best technique I found for Havel monsters is honestly just giving them a nice shield bash. Like, this is a dagger build still, so you're gonna get a lot of counter damage out of that. But yeah, guys, overall I'm pretty surprised this works. I mean, this is the first official quote-unquote build I've ever done. That's just not me messing around, so yeah, I wasn't even planning on making this into a video, or I wasn't even planning on PvPing with this. This was just kind of a proof of concept I wanted to do with myself, but yeah, you can do a legit Dagger and Sorcery build, and they're surprisingly effective. So yeah, guys, it's worth a try, honestly. I had a lot of fun making this build, and it's a lot of fun PvPing with it, so yeah, give it a shot. Anyway, I'll see you guys whenever I make another video. Dark Souls 3 is coming out soon. Maybe I'll get that, so see you guys later.